Welcome back, everybody. Uh-oh, and the name didn't fire off. Dang it. Hang on, let me see if I can get it to do it. Let me try to get it to do the thing. It's not going to do the thing. I edited stuff to show Tenderly's name on the screen, and apparently it isn't going to do it. Nope, not going to do it. Well, I'm Cody Christian, in case anybody didn't know that. And I'm joined by not Chris Becker, who is off celebrating Cinco de Mayo and his birthday today by watching a movie with my sister. They are 100% definitely confirmed not an item. Don't get any wild ideas. And we're gonna be joined by Sarah Tenderly here, rewinding and recapping the last few weeks for Nintendo. And by last few weeks, I mean maybe like, I don't know, 2-3 decades of Yoshi games. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to click that like button and say hey. And if you're here on Twitch, know that you're our favorite child. But before we dive in, how is it going, milady? How are you doing?
Well, I am nobody, as y'all can see right here. I'm Tenderly. Sometimes I'm a cat, and I'm always just this. So I'm what that is, I don't know. I'm okay, I guess. But yes, it is Taco Tuesday. It is Cinco de Mayo, so that is like Taco Tuesday times a whole bunch. And reminder to everybody out there, tacos are not just a dinner item. You can have tacos anytime. There are breakfast tacos. There's taco adjacent foods. Please spread the gospel of the taco.
It's kind of like bagel bites, like pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time, but like you do it with tacos just in general. So like it'd be a good time. Everybody get your daily dose of tacos in. So Tenderly is a good friend of mine, along with Chirithy, and she is our resident baby game streamer, baby game extraordinaire. I brought on the most babyest game of players in the world to come and talk about Yoshi tonight.
It's true. For those of you who don't know, Nerd and I, we've been friends for quite a long time now.
Over 2 years. And you regret it every day.
Every day, I do. I regret it every day, but I keep coming back for more. I don't know why. I'm like
Taco Bell. I am like Taco Bell.
He almost instantaneously started teasing me about baby games and was always being like, baby game. And I was like, well, where's the emote for it? So he actually did run out and make a baby game emote. But then he changed all of his emotes and didn't have room for it anymore. So he just gave it to me.
As one does.
Over on my channel, look here, you guys. He gave it to me and I recolored it, but it's the same emote. We made it more,
more on brand, more Tendy on brand. Thank you for the fine Tendy bits, by the way.
so there you go. You can come to my channel and we can play baby games.
Mm-hmm. It'll be a good time. Tonight we are going to be, with the month of Yoshi happening, mind you, the topic for tonight is going to be ranking every single Yoshi video game that has ever been created. Even some that I don't know that necessarily should have been on this list. I'm looking at you, Tetris Attack, aka Panel de Pon, but it got added into the list. But that is what is on the agenda. But Tenderly, I want you to, before we dive into any of that stuff, tell the people a little bit about yourself and about what you do and about your channel and what brought you up here to talk about Yoshi tonight.
About me. I'm just some chick on the internet. I'm trying to build a community of inclusivity and positivity. The world is poo. And I have this crazy idea that even though the world is poo, that we can make it better, and we can do that together by focusing on, the good stuff that we have. And so that's what I'm doing is Monday through Friday, just trying to get through every day and try to help my friends through their days. And I mostly go live and then figure out what I'm doing. I've got no plans. And why did you come to me? I'm guessing you came to me firstly because you know that you can. I don't even know why.
I'll
But
tell you why. I'll tell you why.
you know, you can come to me and just be like, "Hey, let's go!" Like right now, and I'm like, "Okay." You know, I don't know why that is the way that it is, but that's how it is. You know, nerds like, "Hey, Tendy, let's," and I'm like, "Okay." You know. So yeah, yesterday I was streaming and Nerd stopped by and he was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Okay." But also I actually do really like Yoshi games. I talk about Yoshi's Woolly World quite often. Um, yeah, I'm happy to come by and talk Yoshi.
Heck yes, it's gonna be a good time. I will say, like, as far as the Yoshi games, like I've played every single one of them. I've watched them slowly devolve from what I thought was like pure greatness, and I don't want to spoil too much of the episode, but I'm not gonna dive too deeply into it. But the greatest Yoshi platformer ever created was the one that broke the mold, and then they just got worse over the years, in my opinion. But I knew that I needed someone to come on here and play a little bit of devil's advocate and argue with me just a little bit and say, hey, here's a couple.
That's all we do is argue.
I know, right? Like, I need somebody to put me in my place because Chris isn't here and he tries real hard and to put me in my place. But you know, that being said, I trusted you to come on and be my resident Yoshi expert along with me and help me kind of rank those things. But I will tell you, this past week has been absolutely crazy. Last Tuesday I talked about it on the pre-show before we dove into the actual topic about how I felt like I was getting sick and how I was feeling sick. And then I stayed sick. And there were like so many days that I was like, I just want to play Pokemon. I just want to go live, play Pokemon, and talk with the people. And I ended up not doing any of that. Instead, I stayed offline and I played Tamagotchi Live. And over the last week, I added you. I don't know if I talked about this on the show last week. I don't think I did. I think it was after the show last week. But I added you to my island, Tendy. And as soon as I added you, literally within like an hour of you being on my island, you fell in love with Hank Hill. Hank Hill and Peggy Hill are on the island. And unfortunately, Hank, he chose Peggy. I did not force that relationship. It was just, he was like, hey, I think Peggy has a crush on me. And I was like, yeah, I think she does too, because she said she did. And he was like, I think I'm going to go ask her out. I was like, okay, dude, you see how it goes. I didn't think anything would come of it because he didn't have any feelings for anyone one way or the other. So he goes and asks her out, and now they're sweethearts, and you're over there being a scorned lover on my island. And I'm like, I'm sorry, tenderly. Like, it's an unrequited love. But there are a lot of eligible men on this island. So the Digital Tenderly has a chance at love in various different ways. You could fall in love with ex-president of Nintendo of America, Reggie Fils-Aimé, or the creator of Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto. You never know. They're on the island too.
I mean, you know, I bet they are both extremely awkward. So,
well, I made them, so you know, it is what it is. Everyone is hilariously awkward. I have 4 different versions of Chris on my island. I have regular Chris, I have Wah Chris, I have Christine, a gender bent Chris, and I also have 8-bit Chris because Mnemonic Man loves 8-bit Chris. And I was like, you know, that'd be really funny to have on there. So he talks like Gladys from the Portal games. Like, that's his like vocal sound. It's really hilarious. But I've been enjoying the crap out of Tamagotchi Life and did not think that game was going to be for me. And I'm finding myself diving into that a lot more than I thought I would. So much so that, like, we talked about last week, there was a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Lorelei and the Laser Eyes that released, which is like this puzzle game from Annapurna Interactive and Simogo Games. And I was like, I'm going to actually dive into this game because I hadn't really, like, I bought it when it launched ages ago. And I bought it and one other game at the same time, and I was going on a vacation. I had intentions on playing them, but I didn't actually get any time to play them. And so finally with the Switch 2 edition that released this last week, I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. My brain was so blasted from that time of like trying to play through that, because like I felt like a madman. I looked like Charlie Day on Always Sunny, like writing all those notes and cigarette in hand and like just screaming into the void about like all of these clues I was getting. And I played that for like 3 hours and I was like, you know what? I should probably just stop doing this and go visit my Tomodachi Island life, people. Just so that's what I ended up doing. But my last week was trying to get healthy and taking pictures of children at schools with my wife for her business, and dropping in on your stream when I didn't feel like I was dying. What was your last week like? Did you have a good week last week?
Let's see here. I mean, as far as like streaming goes, my streaming life went pretty well. I've gotten really bent on trying to wrap up games. You know how I flitter around quite a bit. And I was like, I really need to clear some of the stuff off of my video game table. And so I wrapped up my first playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. I finished up KOTOR. I've finished up Abiotic Factor. So those games are all done. So yeah, I've had a good week of being able to stay focused and finish up some games. Otherwise, I've just, been chilling. Oh, I told you before we came in here that I ran to the store. And while I was at the store, this lady behind me says something, and it takes me a moment, and then I realize she's talking to me, and I turn around and I'm like, thank you. This lady, she was complimenting me on my purple hair.
Hey, there you go. There you
she's
go.
She's like, I love your hair. And I was like, she says it and it's behind me, and so there's that pause of like, oh wait, there's somebody behind me talking to me. Thank you.
It is one of those things where like I don't know if you have this problem. I tend to awkwardly accept compliments. And the problem is like I will loudly accept them straight back to their faces. Like I'm like, thank you. Like I'll scream it at them, and then I'm like, wait a second, that was too dialed up. I don't know. So are you like the awkward acceptor, or is it like a gentle like, oh, thanks, leave me alone, or like?
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. So like first there's that pause of not even like realizing that I'm even being spoken to. And then it's like, oh, that was to me, I should say thank you. And yeah, because when I'm out in public, I'm around all the people, obviously, but like for me, I'm really just like in here, I'm really closed and in here. And so to have somebody suddenly be like, hey, you, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm around people,
Please don't talk to me. I'm in public. Don't talk to me. 100% with you.
But yeah, the point behind mentioning the compliment to the hair, for anybody out there who doesn't know, I helped Nerd organize the Mario Mania event that we did back in March. And part of my thing was somebody donated for me to dye my hair purple. So I did. And apparently the public likes it.
Unfortunately, it wasn't chartreuse. You're very lucky I didn't get that donation in time. So.
I know. Like normally on my channel, it goes up to a vote for chat, where I pick the colors and I'll be like, this color, this color, this color. Chat, what do you want? And I let chat vote on the colors I've picked. But for this charity event, I was like, you know what? One person, you throw down a bunch of money all at once, you get to pick the color. And then after I did that, I was like, please don't somebody troll me and do something like orange or
I feel like
I don't
orange, you could
know,
pull it
neon
off.
green.
You could have figured it out. You could have figured out orange. Neon green is the one that I think you'd have the harder time with.
Yeah, I don't want neon green. You know.
So you've heard it here first, folks. Next year, neon green is what we're pulling for. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that to you.
But luckily, a very sweet friend immediately took care of that, wiped it off the table, and was just like, purple. Dude, I can do purple all day.
Absolutely. It is your favorite color. It is your favorite color, so makes complete and total sense. Well, listen, everybody give her proper compliments and go give her a follow over at twitch.tv/I_am_tenderly. For the YouTube audience out there that maybe doesn't know where to find you, that would be the easiest way to find her.
YouTube people can also find me on YouTube. I've got to get better about posting my YouTube shorts.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But I do want to make sure that we welcome the peeps in who have been here since the beginning. We had Chaotic and Mnemonic Man real early, like at least 30 minutes early. I rolled up down here and I already had chats in the chat. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out early with us. NerdXD Jr., welcome in. Susie, welcome in. We also had the Cordhead, aka the wife. Welcome in. Super Nintendo, go celebrate your 43rd birthday, my good sir. Stop coming in here and saying, Cody, please. You go do your things. Enjoy your evening. Retro Cynthia, welcome in. Thank you for being here. And then we also had Foxy_TV rolling in here saying green probably would have been the worst. You could have green screened your hair out. So
it's true.
Me.
Well, then wait, is that circles back also while we were getting ready to come in here. And Nerd was saying we don't have Cat Tenderly here today, and I was like, I'm always a cat, and he's like, oh, you could be one of those naked cats, the ones with no hair.
Yeah.
So there you go, green hair, green screen it out, bam,
full on naked cat. Be really good and awful at the same time. Before we dive into the show, we also want to make sure that we thank our generous supporters and producers from NintendoRewind.com. If you'd like to directly support our content, every dollar spent on memberships and merch helps us continue to produce this show. There's even a tier that only costs $1 a month, and with it, you get a shout out right here. That said, I want to thank our supporters and producers, Calamity Nolan, Sierra Please, Chaotic, and Mnemonic Man for all of their gracious support. We aren't going to waste any more time. Without any further ado, we're going to be ranking every single Yoshi game that has ever been released. In just a moment, we'll see you right after this. All right, guys, so here's the deal. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book launches later this month, and as you know, I have lambasted this game for the babyfication of challenging platformers. A game made for children doesn't intrinsically have to be super mindlessly easy. Tonight, resident Yoshi expert Tenderly and I will be ranking every single Yoshi game, and I'm going to be fully transparent, okay? MVC, Nintendo Voice Chat, did an episode of this where they only ranked the canon platformers, and I was like, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. We're better. We can do way better than that. So I was like, there are remakes of these games. There are ports of these games. There are games that don't even like fall into your traditional platformer category. And I thought, what better way to do this than to actually just rank all of them? But Tenderly and I ranking every single Yoshi game known to man, woman, and cat. So you guys are going to need to hang on to your butts here and be excited. We do have a tier list available. I'll be sharing the link to this tier list so you guys can share it with us, but we'll be ranking it on a score of Yoshi, okay, sufficient, horrible, and ignored, a tier of Yoshi. So we're looking for the most Yoshi game that we can possibly find tonight, but Tenderly, your history with the Yoshi games starts when? How far back are you known for playing a Yoshi game?
Okay, so I played games when I was a kid, but not many, and most of my gaming experience has been in my adult life, and even further than that, it's been over the last couple of years where I've really played the most games.
Mm-hmm.
So I've played some of these games, but I did not play them when they were new.
That's okay.
The only Yoshi game that I played when it was new was Yoshi's Woolly World and Yoshi's Crafted World. I played both of those when they were new. But I have been working on playing some of the other ones now.
Listen, Yoshi's Woolly World, Yoshi's Crafted World, good choices all around. Like, both of those games are awesome. I mean, if you have not had the chance to see those, I mean, they're adorable. And it was like one of the ones that I was like, I needed to get the amiibos for back when that game launched. Do you have any of the amiibos for this?
I have Pink Yoshi and I have Poochie.
You know the one that we both need, that we desperately need, but neither of us have? There is the giant yarn Yoshi that is available that you can get. That's like a full-on plushie that has an amiibo tag in its foot that I've wanted.
You guys, anybody out there? I love me some plushies. I love me the yarn stuff specifically. I do yarn crafts. By all means, go to my Twitch page, and down in the bottom of my profile, there is an address. Mail me the giant Yoshi, and I will put it on my shelf.
Yes, 100%.
And I will rub it. I will rub it in Nerd's face
hold on
every
now.
day.
Listen, I was all excited for you for a second, and then you're just doing that. What the heck did I do?
Every day. You know what I'll do? I'll take a picture of it every day of me like giving this yarn Yoshi.
You already do this with Wildwood pictures.
I do. And then I will text him this picture of me giving this Yoshi smoochies.
So how much is that thing going on eBay for right now? Anyway, let's
somebody mail me one.
Giant yarn Yoshi. Let's do some. Oh God! Holy cow! Okay, hang on. I'm on eBay right now. This is what we're looking at. Is like $200 for the giant yarn Yoshi. They have the tiny ones. Those are like $30, which isn't bad, or inbox 72, which is not bad at all. But the giant yarn Yoshi, the full-on inbox one, $225. I mean, it's like full-on plushie size. They don't give like an actual like size on it, do they? Let's see. What's the description say? Giant yarn Yoshi, box a little beat up, amiibo brand new. Yeah, it doesn't give a size, but these are like actually sizable plushies as far as that goes. So, I mean, it's a big boy.
Yeah, look at him.
Oh man, I desperately want it. So it's a
so
race.
Mail it to me.
See who you mail
so
it to.
Mail it to me. Mail it to me because he really wants it.
Oh man, listen. All right, here we go. So we're gonna start off with, before we start a fight, the tier list. I thought
that's why you brought me here.
It is exactly why I brought you here, and that is in U.S. currency, Kiatic. So we're going to be diving into this tier list. Now, the first set of games are all the Super Nintendo games that had released, but we're going to be kind of really focusing this list on the platformers to start with, because those are the ones that I feel like I'm more familiar with. I think those are the ones that Tenderly you're more familiar with as well. And the first one on this list is going to be a big one. It is the one that started it all. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, which launched for the Super Nintendo many a moon ago. Tenderly, what is your history with Yoshi's Island? Because I'll tell you mine here in a moment. Mine is like super special as far as that goes, but what's your history with Yoshi's Island?
Mine is far less special. So I had purchased myself a retro box that came preloaded with like every heckin' game ever. Okay. And so there were so many games that there was just mentally there was no way for me to work through where to start. And so I started this thing on Thursdays where I would boot up the retro box and take suggestions from chat to try out games. And then if I like them, you know, I could always circle back and play them, you know, more completely. And someone recommended Yoshi's Island, and I hate that game.
Oh, no! Oh my gosh! Listen, I've told this story quite a lot over the years, and so I had a Super Nintendo, but I grew up not exactly in a wealth of money. You know, my parents weren't necessarily making generational wealth, but they got the stuff that we needed for us, and a few things we wanted. And I had a Super Nintendo. The game was getting ready to launch, and I borrowed it from my school bully because he happened to get it. And like, I was desperate to play it. Like, it was Mario. I was like, I want this. I want to be able to play this. And the only person I knew who had it was my school bully. We called him Bear. So shout out Bear if you're out there listening somewhere in the past. But that being said, he said, yeah, no, you can borrow it, but don't erase anything on the cartridge, because he had like a fully 100% completed file. So like, I was trying to beat the game. I was almost about ready to beat it. I was on the final boss fight, and it's like this gigantic kaiju baby Bowser walking toward the screen. And I was young, and it jump scared me a little bit, and I jerked my controller. And back then, controllers were wired, wild times. And I pulled the Super Nintendo off my shelf, and it hit the ground, and the cartridge popped out. And I was like, oh crap. So hooked up everything back up to my TV, plugged in the cartridge back into the thing, and the fall erased all the data on there. And I went, you've got to be kidding me. So I spent like 3 days trying my best to be able to complete that file so that way I could hand it back to him, not without him being any wiser. And I remember the night before I needed to take it back, my mom, she worked third shift at the time, and my mom doesn't really play video games, but I woke up and she was in my room, and this was like a few hours before I had to get up and get ready for school. And I was like groggy and sticky eyed, and I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm trying to finish this game for you so that you can take this back to him so that way he doesn't know anything. And I was like, okay. She goes, do you want to get up and play with me? So like, we spent the entire night before I had to go to school completing that. We 100%ed that thing literally the night before, the morning of me taking it to him. I took it back to school, handed it to him. He didn't know anything different. Like, that's like a real special memory, because like I said, like, my mom didn't play a whole lot of video games with me growing up. That was a me and dad thing more than anything. And I do love that memory, but that being said, I love that game. Like, that game is artistically vibrant. It is one of the best looking platformers that has ever released, like, has such a good style. And
the game would be infinitely better if Mario was mute.
I mean, I understand, but babies be babying. Like, that's just what they do.
Why did they make that baby so obnoxious?
You know, it's a fair question. It really is a fair question. Babies in general are, I mean, like, listen, you get hurt, you get knocked off your riding dinosaur in a crazy world, you're probably going to cry a little bit too. Like, it's going to be like, what is going on?
It's just incessant. Like, unless you get good and you don't ever get hit, with which, I mean, you know, those gamers are out there. Salutes to y'all.
Shout out Cursive Puns.
You know, I mean, but dude, that's not me. I'm going to take a bump every now and then, maybe more than every now and then. But...
Is that your entire soundtrack? It's just Baby Mario just screaming the entire game?
Oh my gosh. You know what? The Baby Mario crying, it actually really reminds me of some Zelda players who are really bad at Zelda games, and all you ever hear is the beeping. That's
the comfort beep. That's what I always called that. That's the comfort beep. It knows that I know I'm still alive as long as that's beeping.
Beep, beep. It's what that reminds me of, but it's this really bad pitched, you know, incessant crying. If it wasn't for the crying, I would actually like that game a lot more. But that crying is awful.
I understand. Well, so that leaves us to needing to rank it, right? So I will give you the aggregate scores as far as I have them for most all of these games. Game game rankings for Yoshi's Island, the original release of it, it's sitting at a 96. A 96%. Edge magazine giving it a 9 out of 10. Famitsu magazine, nearly a perfect 9 out of 10 across the board. It's like a low 9 because they had like 4 reviewers at the time for it. Game Informer with a 9.5 out of 10, and GamePro magazine a 4.5 out of 5. Knowing all of that and where we land with it, I will go first, and typically the way that Chris and I do this is we will average the the score here, and I'll go first so that way you know what you need to say to get it to the score you want it to be, essentially, I guess. But I'm going to say this is the most Yoshi game on the list. Like, it is challenging, it's beautiful, it's got a great soundtrack, the controls are tight, and it was inventive as far as platformers go back in the day. I really do love this one at the most Yoshi of Yoshi games. But how are you feeling about it, Tindy? Now that you know what you need to do to ruin my score. So.
I wish I could love this game more. I really do. But I can't. And since streaming, I've watched many people play this game, and everybody just complains about this baby. Everybody hates this baby. I mean, when I went through the list, dude, I'm sorry, I wrote this thing down as an ignore.
What? You did not write this down as an ignore, did you? Did you really write that down as an ignore? Oh my god, spoilers, hold on. But what?
I wrote it down as an ignore. I didn't know that you were gonna go for, the Yoshi thing. I wrote it down as an F.
Oh man, I mean that's fine. F is ignore, so I'm with you. Like I understand, but like I'm like, oh my gosh, I felt like my head was about to explode when you said this out loud. I was like, what is going on? So okay. Well, the average. I mean,
that makes it average. It makes it average.
Sufficient. It's a sufficient Yoshi game. Oh god. Well, that's where we're at.
I mean, and I feel like that's fairly suitable. If you look around the community and the way that people just really hate Baby Mario, yeah. I think it. I mean, gameplay and all of those things that you mentioned. I mean, yeah, sure, that it makes it a great game, but dude, you've got to ruins it. Baby Mario, man, nobody likes babies.
Poor Baby Mario. I do got to be honest. Like, if I am looking at it like that, I mean, I don't really care for Baby Mario as a whole. I don't like him in any of the games. Get out of here, cheap viewers. You're gone. Get banned. But that being said. I understand the perspective on that. I think that the gameplay, as far as that goes, if you just play it on mute, that game is awesome, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's got really inventive mechanics. You've got some staple characters that end up making their own full-on mainstay. These are forever characters in that game as well. And some really cool and unique mechanics that I don't think that they really explored super well in the franchise as a whole. But I think I can swallow my pride and get rid of the nostalgia glasses a little bit and accept that it's sufficient as far as that goes. We are going to move into the second game on the list, and this was the follow-up to Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. It was a little ditty known as Yoshi's Story. This game released for the Nintendo 64 many a moon ago, and was something super special as far as that goes. It was very different from what we got to know in Yoshi's Island, because there is no baby in this one, so maybe you might like this one a little bit better. But I don't know. Tenderly, how are you feeling about Yoshi's Story for the Nintendo 64?
Well, first off, this commercial was insane.
Tis the 90s.
Right, I mean... that poor cat, dude. Just ripping off its fur. So the commercial doesn't even really tell you much about the game. But Overall, I've got favorable opinions about Yoshi's story.
I'm kind of with you on that commercial. I don't think I'd watched that commercial since the 90s. I'm gonna be real. Like, I linked it up on here whenever it was time to get the show notes rolling, and I was like, "What is this?" Pretty much every single one of these. Like, I don't know if you watched the Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island commercial that we just aired just a second ago, but the man is gluttoning on spaghetti and explodes all over the place. It looks like vomit everywhere, and then this one's like young men with long tongues, and I'm like, I hate all of these commercials. They are bonkers. But this was like one of the, so I had quite a few Nintendo 64 games by the end of the N64's lifespan, but to start I didn't have a whole lot. Like, I didn't have like the mainstay like Super Mario 64. Like, I had Mario Kart 64, I had Super Smash Bros. I had Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. That was a good one where you play as a Han Solo like character in that game. I really liked that game a lot. But Yoshi's Story was one that I had, and it was very cool because like you ended up getting like all these different color Yoshis, and you're seeing all of these characters modeled in 3D, and it still has kind of like this storybook crafted, like quilted feel to it that you see as kind of like the brand of Yoshi kind of going forward. Like, that's what Yoshi's Story kind of set the example for what I feel like almost every Yoshi game going forward was going to feel like. And I enjoyed that game. It had like a weird like open zone structure. I call it open zone, but like you had all these like pick-a-pads, and there were like levels you didn't have to see, things that you didn't have to go and do. But at the same time, it was, in my opinion, a lesser controlling game than Yoshi's Island was. The game used the joystick. It had like this weird pseudo 3D kind of like branching path structure that kind of made it feel like a Metroidvania. You're like collecting all this fruit. You needed to make sure you had enough fruit to end the level. And it was just something that was just like really different from what like your typical like just run from left to right platformer was. And that wasn't necessarily my jam. So like I didn't have high regard for that game, and that's not necessarily saying it's a bad game, but it just wasn't my thing. You know, like I liked the concept, but at the same time, like I just didn't love the game. And unfortunately, it was like one of the only ones that I had on the N64 early in my N64 ownership. So, game rankings. I'll fill you in on where critical reception was. Game rankings has it at a 60%. Metacritic at a 65. Edge Magazine gave it a 7 out of 10. EGM gave it approximately a 7, 6.8, somewhere in that ballpark. If you look at the 5 or 4 reviewers that they had at EGM, Game Informer with a surprising 8.5 out of 10, and IGN with a 7 out of 10. So I don't know that I agree with some of those extremely high scores. And that's why for me, like, and my money, I think that if I'm looking at Yoshi's Story critically, I know where I'm gonna put it, but I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one this time. How do you feel about Yoshi's Story? Where you want to put it?
Well, so everybody who knows me knows, I didn't never have an N64. So my experience with the N64 isn't through, the nostalgia lens, and I'm typically a pretty big critic of the N64 games. Whereas I appreciate, you know, the N64's place in the video game sphere, you know, as far as like, you know, us pushing things forward from, you know, the way games were before to where they're, you know, at the N64. Like, I get its place, but the games tend to be pretty crappy. But I I do have a more favorable opinion of Yoshi's story as opposed to Yoshi's Island. There is a lack of crying baby there. So for me, I think it's average. It's not terrible. It's not great. For me, it's somewhere around a B or a C.
Yeah, I think I would tend to agree with that take. Unfortunately, that does kind of end up collectively putting that one at that sufficient mark for us. You know, if you're saying a B or a C, I would have probably put it at that sufficient mark on the Yoshi scale. So if we're good with it,
we can agree on things.
I think it is markedly lower than Yoshi's Island by a long shot. So I would say like a low sufficient comparatively, but you know, that's just my own personal take on it. And
no, I would agree with that.
We'll put it. We'll put it in sufficient. So very cool. So look at us getting along and agreeing. It's a miracle.
This is our get along shirt.
It is. It's 2 necks, 2 sleeves, and we're just hugging the whole time. The next game on the list is a game that released for the Nintendo DS, and it kind of was trying to cash in on a lot of the vibes and nostalgia of the original Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, because it brought back the babies. And it brought back a lot of the stylization of the Super Nintendo era of that game, because you get the pixel art and that kind of hand-drawn art style running in here, but you get it from the perspective of having 2 separate screens to platform around on, which was unique at the time. And the thing that really makes this game stand out and makes it really different is that you also get quite a few different babies that are traversing with you that make this more of a Metroidvania than the original Yoshi's Island was. The original Yoshi's Island is to Mario as Yoshi's Island DS is to Metroid. So like you get all these babies, they each have their own special powers. Wario has a magnet. DK has baby DK has the ability to climb. You've got baby Princess Peach with the parasol, and you've got the Mario brothers, of course, with their own unique things that they can do. And I feel like they tried to do so much to go back to that original like Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island style and make this like a genuine like sequel that it kind of still didn't hit the same marks that the original Yoshi's Island did.
Did all of the babies cry?
Yes, they all had their own unique cries. So you get 5 times the crying in this game that you don't get otherwise. I rather liked this game though. Not to the extent that I liked Yoshi's Island. I think the original Yoshi's Island was a more polished experience, but I feel like this game was probably the closest to that original release than any other title in the franchise. And for me, that was kind of a step in the right direction again, but it just was like it didn't really hit some of the marks that I would have hoped that it would have hit. So unfortunately, I definitely would rank this one lower than the original Yoshi's Island, but higher than I would Yoshi's Story. But I'm gonna lead in with where I would put it, and then I want to hear from you on how you feel about Yoshi's Island DS. I would kind of put this one in the okay ranking.
Yeah, I think it's gonna fall right in, between the two of them, like pushing there, because yeah, once again, the games themselves, the games are good, but the incessant crying really detracts from the ability to enjoy the game. And so when you're talking about like, oh, well, do a ROM hack and get rid of the crying babies, Once you're having to do that, that's not
fix
the
your
same.
game to fix your
Yeah,
game.
if you gotta fix it, that's inherent of an issue. So just like the games as they are, that incessant crying, because it's not even equal to an actual like baby crying. Yeah, baby crying, is annoying or whatever, but this is like, so this is Taco Tuesday and it's Cinco de Mayo, and it being Cinco de Mayo like significantly elevates the Taco Tuesday-ness. That's what they did with the baby crying. They took baby crying and they're like, how do we amplify how annoying baby crying is? And then let's just have it do it all the time. And it really detracts from the enjoyability of the games.
Yeah.
So if you think that it's between the two, I will accept that, considering where they're at, though.
I'll jam them there. I'll for now. So far, we've got a lot of these are sufficient as far as that goes on this list. And Yoshi's Island DS, I think, is kind of the epitome of a sufficient to an okay game. Like it has its moments where I think that game really shines. But for the most part, it was not to the level, in my opinion, that Yoshi's Island, the original, was. But it was a more cohesive gameplay experience than I think Yoshi's Story was. And again, like when we talk about the N64's library and kind of like the way that the N64 was, it was all experimental anyway. So Yoshi's Island DS, the original Yoshi's Island, proven genres that work within the systems that they are created for. You're not creating a new genre with a 3D environment getting thrown in there. You're really kind of trying to figure out things on the N64. Whereas like by the time the DS came along, Nintendo had kind of figured out a formula as far as that goes. So I think that's why that game kind of lands in that like this is an okay game. So we then go to the next one on this list, which is going to be Yoshi's New Island. Now, Yoshi's New Island, oh boy, I have a pretty big hate for Yoshi's New Island, and I will tell you exactly why. Yoshi's New Island, unfortunately, is one of the ugliest games in the entire franchise because they try to take what that painterly kind of aesthetic of Yoshi's Island and translate it into an actual 3D environment, and it just does not work. To top it off, the soundtrack's awful. The gameplay is not snappy. It feels clunky and slow. I have a pretty dang big hate for Yoshi's New Island, and I will stand by that hate until the end of my days. But have you played any of Yoshi's New Island? Does this one kind of like land for you anywhere in particular that you're like, yeah, I like this one a lot, or no?
This is actually one of those games I haven't played, but I went and watched videos of gameplay before doing this, and it's weird that you keep saying I have this hate, because after you told me that you were doing this scaling with the letters for Yoshi, I changed what I had marked for my thing here on my little notes that I took. Yeah, I changed it to H.
I would agree almost entirely.
So I guess H is for hate. H is for hate.
Hang on. Let me edit that on this real quick. Hate. We have hate. We have hate. This is the most hate of all the games thus far. I'm 100% with you. Like, this game is not good. I mean, you get more baby crying. You do. But it's more baby crying in an uglier form factor. And it's like, I don't know what happened here. Like, I don't understand how they made this as bad as they did. Now, granted, all four of these games that we've talked about so far, like, these are not the easiest games of all Yoshi games either. And I know, like, the whole case was we're proving that we've had the babyfication of Yoshi games over the years. We haven't gotten there yet. It's getting there. We're getting there. But when we are talking about the babyfication here, there's so much baby crying, it's not even funny. And it just does not hit the way that you would want it to. And that game is ugly. That game sounds bad. That game has a ton of just problematic screen crunch. And I do not love the way that game looks, plays, sounds. And there's some like weird and wacky and horrible things that are going on the screen. Like there's like a living, walking pipe, like Mario pipe, that's just like on there, and it's like one of the ugliest things I've seen as far as Yoshi's Island is concerned in any of the stuff that they've created. I just dislike that game. I have a pretty big dislike for that game. So if we're gonna ranking it at hate, I think is a great place to put it. I tend to agree with that take. So but we should see how the critics felt about Yoshi's New Island. Just to let you know, Metacritic has it at a 64 out of 100. OpenCritic, 15% recommended.
I guess they have a big hate too.
Yeah, they do, and I think they're right for it. Destructoid gave it a 7 out of 10. Edge Magazine a 4 out of 10. Eurogamer a 4 out of 10. Game Informer, again, coming in surprisingly high with a 7 out of 10. And IGN, a 7.9 out of 10. So I don't know that I necessarily agree with a lot of those. A lot of those scores. The 4 out of 10s, yeah, I tend to agree with on that. Like I also wouldn't say it's a 15 out of 10. I don't despise this game, but it is just not the greatest Yoshi game ever created as far as that goes. So it doesn't get the biggest recommend. We finally start getting into some of the more modern experiences, and Tenderly's spoken about this earlier in the show. And the first game on this list is a game known as Yoshi's Woolly World. Tindy, I'm gonna let you kind of take the reins on this very first one here.
Okay, so for me, like I said, I started playing video games really more in my adulthood, but I didn't play a lot of video games. I was busy being a mom. But this game came out in the later years, and I instantly fell in love with the art style of this game. I didn't even have a Wii U at the time. It had been a system that we had constantly debated about getting one, but then didn't. We had, the DSs and the 3DSs and Xbox, all of that stuff. We had the original Wii, but I had just never committed to doing a Wii U. But I actually went and got a Wii U to play this game, and I only ever got rid of my Wii U because they were like, oh, this is definitely going to be one of those games that, they make a Switch version of, a la, some other games like Twilight Princess. And, they're like, they're definitely going to do that. And then they didn't.
Instead, we got the follow-up, which we'll talk about in a moment. So,
and I'm just like, "Where's my Yoshi's Woolly World? Bring it back!"
Well,
I love
a remake
that game
for the 3DS, which we'll also talk about in a little bit. I'm with you, though. I'm with you.
I have big love for Yoshi's Woolly World. I love that game. So, we'll see how our fighting goes, because for me, that's a Y.
Oh, that one is landing.
That's a Yoshi for me.
At a Yoshi. This is the Yoshi of all Yoshi games. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Give me just a second, and I'll rebuttal for a moment. But Here's what I will say. Okay, so Yoshi's Woolly World launched, and my wife wasn't so much of a gamer, but she had a passing love of video games, right? Like, it's one of those things where, like, occasionally we would play something together, and then I was like, okay, I like platformers. Yoshi games have been notoriously easier in the early levels. I thought, maybe she'll be into this one. And she was into this one. Like, we played quite a lot of Yoshi's Woolly World. And I remember I was collecting amiibos at the time, and all the amiibos, every single one unlocked like this new color of a Yoshi that you could have. So I had, the Dr. Mario amiibo, and you get a Dr. Mario Yoshi. And I had like Yarn Yoshi amiibos because those launched on the same day. And I popped those in. So you get a pink Yoshi early or a blue Yoshi early. Had a Fox McCloud Yoshi rolling around in there. And I thought that was super cool. And all the scanning of the amiibos took like an entire night to get all the costumes, but it was well worth it because I just liked having my own like specific Yoshi that I used was really cool. But I love the aesthetic in that game. The soundtrack is really good, but this is where I think the challenge of the video games from a gameplay perspective kind of starts to fall off, because there's no like need to like explore the main portion of the world. Like, it's literally go from left to right, reach the end, which is very Mario, which I do greatly appreciate. In most cases, you don't have to explore anything. You just run to the goalpost and you're done. But I think part of what made the Yoshi games so different in the early days was that kind of exploration of, okay, well, I need to find these red coins, or I need to find these flowers, or I need to find this specific fruit I need to eat. And it added like that extra thing that differentiated Yoshi from the mainline Mario franchise. Whereas this was not so much that. But all that to say, I think the game design and the aesthetic design of this game is so charming that it's easy to forgive any of the downfalls that I think the gameplay has. So much so, I mean, if you look at the critical response from this game, I mean, Metacritic has it at a 78 out of 100. OpenCritic with a 70%. Pretty much all across the board, you see, 78s, 7s, 9s, 8.5s. It's fairly well regarded. And even on what I would consider a failed console, being the Wii U, it still had 31,000 physical copies sold after 2 weeks. 43,000 copies were then later sold in the UK. It charted at 4th place. So like, there were a bunch of sales data to indicate that like the desire for a good Yoshi game was there. And Yoshi's Woolly World kind of was a blend in a lot of ways of that I think was just challenging enough to kind of keep people engaged. Now, whether or not I agree that this is the most Yoshi of games is to be said. I think that this one lands in that okay category, but I'm okay with putting this in the Y for Yoshi segment up here at the very top.
For
because
me,
it's good.
it falls into this realm of it's not the same kind of game as the other Yoshi games. Yeah. It's like when you're talking about some other games where they like, go off on the side and they do like some other little thing. So for me, this Yoshi game and games all alike, the next one that we're going to be talking about, Crafted World, and the new one that's about to come out. For me, those kind of Yoshi games, they're like in a different lane. They're a different style of Yoshi game as compared to like Yoshi's Island and everything. They're a bit different, I think.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I think that this game is, for better or worse, a significantly more approachable game, right? Regardless, I think this game is more approachable for a lot of people. They're
made for people like me.
Yep. Well, I said yep twice, and then it connected what you just said. I was just agreeing. But at the same time, like, I feel like this game is made for everyone, unless the hardcore Nintendo player, right? Like, this is something that I think almost anyone could get some enjoyment out of. Again, gigantically adorable aesthetic and world, but it's followed up by Yoshi's Crafted World, which later released for the Nintendo Switch, and you did not get your true sequel to that franchise, that specific title, the way that you wanted to, and it's disappointing that it didn't happen. How did you feel about Crafted World on the Nintendo Switch?
I currently don't have a copy of this game. I need to re-get one. I had gotten it and I was doing the co-op, but a lot of times when doing the co-op, he falls off, where he he ends up not being interested in that game or whatever anymore. But like, I didn't want to, be rude, I guess, and play it separately, but now I just don't even care. So I need to get me another copy, so I can continue playing. It once again, being its own little side shoot, where these Yoshi games, they play similar and they look similar, but they're different from the other ones. I did really like this. I liked it less than Woolly World. But like, you're traveling around on the map and you're looking for, hidden things, like back behind the crafted objects, and it's neat, you're and then you go into your levels and actually, do the stuff, but I like them.
So when I think about Yoshi's Crafted World, all I think about is I think about the new Super Mario series of games, right? Like, at first you get New Super Mario Bros, and that one's really cool and unique, and then you get New Super Mario Bros on the Wii, and that one is also cool and unique, and then you get New Super Mario Bros 2, and it's like, okay, well, I've done this kind of aesthetic in this kind of game. And then you get New Super Mario Bros. U, and you're like, okay, this is starting to get real sour. And I felt like Nintendo had kind of ran the gamut on this aesthetic at this point, because like, what it really came down to was Kirby's Epic Yarn, right? Like, that was same people kind of running around trying to kind of mimic that feel. It was good Phil who did Kirby's Epic Yarn. It was good Phil who did Yoshi's Woolly World, and again, it was good Phil who did Yoshi's Crafted World. And I was like, man, like, I kind of felt like that aesthetic had kind of ran its course, and it just made me miss the days of the painterly crayon drawing aesthetic of the older games. And so a lot of the like surprise that was there was kind of gone in terms of being in this like scrapbooky kind of world. Now, granted, it was slightly different and updated because you had the felted yarn Yoshis rather than the like actual like yarn Yoshis. Everything was kind of like this felted aesthetic, and a cardboard was thrown in, and it was significantly more pen and paper. But at the same time, it was like, I don't know how I feel about this anymore. Like, I'm kind of done. And I think we had who said it? Goblin Junkbot in the live chat said Woolly World is the best Yoshi game, but then follows up to say that half of Crafted World is a decent game. The other half prior to the special stages makes me very angry. And that's where I kind of lean toward. This game takes some pretty big, steep learning curves in a way that I don't think benefits it, because the learning curve, and I've talked about this in Babylon Zul's channel a lot because he's been playing through Yoshi's Island for the Super Nintendo. Excuse me, just one moment. But he's been playing through that, and he's asked, does this get harder? And I'm like, no, it pretty much maintains that learning curve pretty steadily all the way through that game. Whereas this game takes a pretty steep hill towards the end of it and doesn't really teach the player well. And the beginning portion of it is really easy, to the point that it is like, to finally get to the gratification portions of that game, it's almost boring is the way that I kind of land with this game. I didn't play that far into it. That's okay. You didn't miss a whole lot once you got to the end of it. But what I will say is Metacritic gave it a 79 out of 100. OpenCritic gave it an 81. If we look at Destructoid, a 7.5. We've got Eurogamer says it's a recommended game. Game Informer with an 8.25. GameSpot with an 8. IGN with a 7.8. So maybe I'm just not understanding this game. But if I were to rank this game, it would probably land squarely in the sufficient category for me. It's not as spectacular as Yoshi's Woolly World, and it's not as evenly challenging as Yoshi's Island Super Mario World 2. And I don't know. It's one of those games where I just don't think that it holds up quite the way that I would like for it to, in comparison to the legacy of the rest of these games. But that's where I land with that one. It's sufficient. I would say that it's probably better than Yoshi's Island DS and Yoshi's Story, but I don't know where you land, Tenderly. How do you feel about it?
Well, I didn't have the experience of feeling I'm being mauled. I didn't. No, would you go away, cat?
We got Cherothy. It's a guest. It's a guest sequence.
And there she goes, jumping over my shoulder. I didn't have the experience of feeling like the game had an uptick on me, and
let me be a little more specific with that uptick of difficulty. It was because Goblin Junkbot kind of goes on to elaborate. The learning curve was fine. The searching for stuff. And that's what I mean by that. Everything was significantly more hidden to a frustrating point. And because that game progresses in that way.
Right. And I like the searching for stuff. I'm big into wandering. But yeah, you've got to you've got to find things to interact with, to take and make a bridge or whatever, to take and move around on the map, or find some little thing that you're supposed to walk between that doesn't necessarily look like you can.
Right.
But yeah, I do think it's a lesser game than Woolly's World. But for me, I feel like a lot of it is we've had this conversation, you and I, over Zelda games where when the newest Zelda game came out, where I was like, I'm grateful for this game because for me, I was worried that with games like Zelda Breath of the Wild and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, that they were leaving the old Zelda games behind. Yeah. And for me, that's what I hear from you is in these newer games, you're like, I hate these newer games. It makes me feel like they're leaving the old games behind. And who knows? Maybe they might bring something back. Maybe
we'll see with Mysterious Book releasing. Who knows?
Well, I don't think you're gonna find what you're looking for there.
No, I don't think so either, based on all the previews.
but yeah. So this is definitely, once again, where they've gone down this avenue, and their last several Yoshi games have been in this new lane. For me, being less than Woolly's World, but still I would still give it a Y, because I like this style of Yoshi game.
I kind of thought that was where it was going to lean toward. So averaging it out between the two of us, because I was like, this is a sufficient game. And you with the Yoshi of Yoshi games, this is going in the okay category. Is where
it's okay.
It's where to land. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. And I'm good with it being okay. It's okay.
Oh man. Then we get into what I would consider probably like the remake category of these games. So when we're talking remakes of these, we're talking like full on. Thank you so much for that subscription, by the way, Goblin Junkbot. We're talking about the full on reporting, reimagining, whatever you want to call it, versions of some older games that we had. And the next one on this list is Yoshi's Island Super Mario Advance 3, which is like one of the more convoluted titles on this list as far as that goes. Yoshi's Island Super Mario Advance 3 is one of those games that, like, so I was talking with Tenderly about it because I mean it is very much a similar experience. The gameplay itself is way more cropped in. You've got some god-awful Yoshi story level audio that's been kind of jammed into this game too, with the way that Yoshi talks and sounds in this world. You get a whole lot of screen crunch because it's not really made for the GBA screen, so like you're getting like this visual downgrade. A lot of the colors look a lot more muted than they did on its original SNES release. All of that aside, you get a few extra levels kind of thrown into the package here, and everything kind of lends toward becoming a lesser game for me than the original release, because like I don't like what I'm playing here nearly as much as the original release. So this is like more of a worse version of that, and I don't know necessarily if the extra levels add anything if I'm not enjoying myself nearly as much. So I have feelings on this one where I would highly regard the original release, and then the port of this, which granted, like, it's exciting. I get to take this game on the go for the first time, this full on like console SNES game on the go. But it's not as good, and it makes it really bad if I'm like trying to look at it in any other way other than just like I'm a little more disappointed with this one. So like, Tenderly, what's your opinions on the Game Boy Advance version of Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island?
Yeah, this is the worst of the baby games. Because of like the things that you mentioned. It's not even just the incessant a really obnoxious baby crying. It doesn't look good. It's so small. Like this was not a good idea. And that is from somebody who, I mean, I love the GBA category. Remember, I love the GBA. Nerd made me this.
I've got my GBA sitting right here too. This is my like redone Boxy Pixel one. So
yeah, nerd modded this GBA for me because I love the GBA games. That was a terrible idea. Yeah. That game did not belong over here in this category. I don't know who pitched that idea, but shame on you.
Are we about to agree on this one? If we're gonna place this one, is it going and ignored? Is that where this is? We need to ignore it.
Just ignore that one, y'all. If you are going to play a Yoshi's Island game, go play the first one.
Yep, the original release.
That's the one to play. Don't play this one.
So here's what I will say though. So the aggregate scores for the GBA version of that game do not reflect our own personal opinions of this by any means. Metacritic has this sitting at a 91 out of 100. Edge Magazine with an 8, Eurogamer with a 9, GameSpot with a 9.2, IGN with a 9.4. Like, I don't understand, because here's what I will say. So a lot of the reviews here, Craig Harris of IGN said that it was the best platformer ever developed, while acknowledging the game's roots in the Super Mario series. IGN wrote that the story is interesting as the origin story for the Mario Bros. So it's all like very like kind of weighing it against as if this is the first time they're ever experiencing this. And it's unfortunately not, because that game had been out for literal years before this version came along. But IGN did go on to note a few of the Game Boy Advance specific issues, citing frame rate drop in areas where a lot's happening on screen, camera panning problems due to the lower resolution, poor implementation of the dizzy special effect on the touch fuzzy get dizzy level on the handheld release. And so like I feel like this game is a lesser version of the original, and if you can play either of those, which you can through Nintendo Switch Online,
go play one of those. Yeah,
the original.
Do that.
So I
played the original, and it's okay. It's a decent game, but dude, just throw Mario off a cliff.
Poor Mario. We then get into the only other remake on this list, and that is going to be Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World. Again, Tenderly's favorite Yoshi game on the list. And we're gonna show some gameplay off on here for a second, but I will tell you, this game is a direct port of the original release of this game, save for the fact that you get a little bit of screen crunch going on the screen. But I mean, by and large, this is the remake that I think Tenderly kind of wanted, except not on the platform she wanted it on. So I'm gonna throw it over to you to talk a little bit about this and the disappointment that's there.
Yeah. So I was telling Nerd, 3 inches is less, y'all. This is not where I wanted my Yoshi's Woolly World. This is not enough for me. It's still kind of cute, but also not, you know.
That is to the live chat. Sorry. I'm over here giggling about Netis in the live chat.
Yeah, Netis, I don't know who told you that, but they lied. No, but I mean, like, also, if I still had my 3DS and I was, you know, using that as my, you know, on the go gaming device, would I be stoked to have this? Sure. As somebody who wanted to just to be able to have the full game and have it on my TV, and no, this wasn't enough for me. I actually I was unaware that this ever even happened. Yeah, I didn't have this for my 3DS. I never knew this existed.
You didn't miss out on a lot. I'm gonna be real. Like, they had some
once
extra
again,
Poochie levels.
Once again, if you've got options, play the original. Play Yoshi's Crafted World. That would be better.
That is one of the problems with this specific version of this game, or even the original version of it, is like it is locked to older consoles. So like you don't have the opportunity to play this in any other way. I would like to see like a definitive release of this on the Switch 2 would be really cool. Where you know, you get the opportunity to have the Poochie levels as well as the original game at its full glory. But it was just one of those things where I think, by and large, like this is an inferior way to experience this game, and it's unfortunate that like both the remakes suffer from that same problem, where it's like, if you can experience it in a different way, you should experience it in the original way that Shigeru Miyamoto and Reggie Fils-Aimé intended, and just play it on their original consoles. But I'm kind of with you in that, like, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more out of this title, and they don't really give you more. It's just you'd be better served playing it elsewhere. So, but that being said, that does bring us to the tier list portion of this. Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World. How are we feeling about Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World, Tenderly? Where are we slamming this one? Is this another ignore, or is it in hate?
I mean, like I said, like it.
I will argue this before you make your call. I will argue this. I don't think that this port is as bad of a port as Yoshi's Island Super Mario Advance 3 is.
Yeah, no, it's not that bad. It's just a letdown.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess ignore that. It's okay looking, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, like, at the same time, just, like, go play the original.
Yeah, I would have argued for a low-end hate, but I'm okay with it going in the ignored category. It's one of those games where, unfortunately, like, it's better, you're better served and better experiencing it in the original way that it was created. Calamity Nolan in the live chat says nearly every remake is worse than the original. And I tend to almost agree with that. However, we do have Metroid Prime Remake, which improves everything about that original game. But I digress. It's a rare occurrence that you have something that good. Now, we do get to move out of the remakes category, and we get into some unique games that are listed here. And we are going to start with. Let me see here on our list. We're going to start with Yoshi Topsy Turvy, another game kind of in that platformer category, but not really a platformer per se as far as that goes. It's different. It's a platformer in the sense that, like, hey, Pikmin is a platformer. In other areas of the world, this was known as Yoshi's Universal Gravitation, which is such like a strange name for the title, but I'm gonna let this trailer kind of play out and let you guys kind of see a little bit of the gameplay as far as that goes, where you're tilting the Game Boy to move Yoshi along on a path. And it was unique, and it did kind of try to take a lot of inspiration from the original release of the Yoshi's Island games, but like the control scheme was all gyroscope based. It's one of the few games that like is not super easy to emulate on the GBA because you need the gyroscope that's built into the cartridge, which is just like a little mercury ball that like kind of like rotates around inside of there to let it know whether it's leaning right or left. I think this game is unique. Maybe not the game for everyone, and really difficult to say, everybody should go and play this. So, I don't know. What's your experience with... I know you probably... I don't know if you own this one, and like I said, it's very difficult to emulate, but what's your experience with Yoshi's Universal Gravitation, aka Topsy Turvy?
I've not played this one, but I did, do some watching of it. And so, yeah, it's unique. But for me, this like really falls into I'm actually older than Nerd. So when I was young,
barely.
when I was young, with the Nintendo, you would, I don't know, you would move around with the controller and stuff. And so then later Nintendo's like, oh, people move around with the controller, we should fit that into our games. And so we got the Wii, and it's like one of those things where you think like, oh, hey, we do that. So yeah. But it doesn't really work, nobody really wants to be having to move to do their gaming. It's one thing when you do it, unintentionally because you somewhere in your brain think that, oh, hey, if I lean my head this way, I can see around the corner, and you can't, So I was watching this game, and it really felt a lot like that to me, where I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want to be having to like tilt my as I'm trying.
Uh-oh. We may have lost Tenderly for a moment. Uh-oh. We lost Tenderly. No! She's gone. I will pick up where Tenderly has left off there. And Are you back? You're back. I can hear you again on Discord, but I don't see you on the on the browser source here. Hello, can you hear me tenderly? I don't know. The main portion of your face and audio is completely gone. So it's gone on the I have no video feed of you anymore. I did turn on the Discord audios, that way they can hear you. Tenderly is pulling a Super Nintendo. She's done talking about Yoshi. Oh, and there was a 8-bit Chris in behind you.
Oh my goodness. Was he stalking me over here?
I think he was. But to kind of lean into that is pun intended, to lean into that. I think for the most part, like critically, this game did not score exceedingly well either. Like it overall game rankings has it at a 61.12, Metacritic at a 60 out of 100, with OneUp.com giving it a D+. Game Informer a surprising 8 again. IGN with a 5 out of 10. Nintendo Power with a 7 out of 10. My own personal opinions are echoed a lot in Jeremy Parrish. If you guys are familiar with him, he's done a lot of books on the history of specific consoles over time that you can snag over on Fangamer from time to time. But he had written the tilt controls were graceless and clumsy, and the character animations were choppy, concluding that it was a mediocre and boring game. And overall, I kind of have to agree with that. It's exceedingly short. It's difficult to play. It's not exactly what I would call a fun time. It's just one of those things where I'm glad to have it in the collection, because it is one of those rare games that have like an actual like tilt mechanic in a GBA game that did not have a gyroscope directly built into it. But it's not necessarily my type of game. Tindy, have you attempted refreshing your video page? Is that what's going on?
Maybe.
Let's see what happens. I'm still hearing you.
And refresh.
Yeah, and then we've got 8-bit Chris. He's just chilling here.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. We got video feedback and we have audio. Let me make sure we don't got you doubled up. Okay. Perfect.
I'm just gonna blame Charity, who is like being little Godzilla over here.
She's like, Mom, it's bedtime. Why are you still awake? Oh man, welcome back to the show. So, but Yoshi Topsy Turvy for the GBA. Honestly, I would probably put that one. The problem is like it's not exactly what I would call a bad game. It's just not a good game, and I don't know that I would say that I hate it. But I would not say that it is even sufficient. So I think I kind of got to lean toward putting it in the hate category, but above Yoshi's New Island if I were going to give it its own like category here, category ranking. What about you, Tenderly? How are you feeling about Yoshi Topsy Turvy?
Yeah, that looks like a good place for it, because it's interesting, but also don't want.
Yeah.
But maybe somebody does, but it's not me.
I am 100% with you. We then go into the next one on the list here, and this is another similar kind of title known as Yoshi Touch and Go. It's another one of those auto runners. When they did Yoshi Touch and Go, essentially this was the type of DS game where they had intentions on making sure that everybody knew that you could use both screens whenever you're playing it. And this game felt like a mini game to me in a lot of ways, where you're like drawing these pathways to get Yoshi to fall down and not have him run into enemies, and trying to guide Baby Mario, and just like making sure, or rather not Yoshi, guiding Baby Mario to land on Yoshi is what I meant to say, to make sure that he survives his fall and makes it down to Yoshi safely. And then you have the auto runner portion where you're like drawing pathways for Yoshi to complete the level. How do you feel about Yoshi Touch and Go? Is that a game that ranks up there for you or no?
Also didn't play this one, but watched some, and I I at least found the drawing, the pathway stuff. I found that to be far more interesting than the tilting of the actual thing constantly. I mean, I could actually, as far as, the DSs go, I could see that being very in line with the system, right? So I think like the game itself probably makes more sense in that era, but maybe never again.
Yeah, like the biggest problem I have with this game is that it does play on 2 screens, and then you have the gap in between, and there's not a whole lot of control on the top screen of Baby Mario. So you're trying to plan these pathways that you draw for him to fall down to keep him safe, and it just doesn't always work the way that you would want it to. Metacritic gave it a 73 out of 100. Edge gave it an 8 out of 10. Eurogamer with a 6 out of 10. Famitsu with a 35 out of 40. There are a lot of like really high scores on here, but like swimming in sevens is what we like to say here, right? Like swimming in sevens, and that's kind of where it lands. Is like it's an average game. Inventive, but definitely of its time, kind of what you were saying. Like it is very much of its time. So I don't know that I could be like, yeah, no, that's that is the greatest Yoshi game ever created. So if I would rate it on my own, I would probably say that like Yoshi Touch and Go kind of lands in that sufficient category. Better than Yoshi Topsy Turvy, but definitely a lesser game than most all of the other Yoshi games that we've kind of ranked. Where do you land at it?
I actually think I pretty fairly well agree with that. Yeah.
I love when games are inventive and they do something well, and they take one gimmick and they do it to the best of their ability. And that's what I feel like this game did better than like Yoshi Topsy Turvy, where Yoshi Topsy Turvy was a gimmick that didn't really kind of work in an extended playtime. And Yoshi Touch and Go at least is interesting in the regard that like you're drawing on a screen at a time when drawing on screens was not a thing.
Yeah.
But that's where I land with Yoshi Touch and Go. You guys heard it here. Heard it here first. Tenderly agrees.
Mark it on your calendar.
Exactly. Now we get into the stuff that is much less platformer, and these are what I would consider the spin-off game category. With Yoshi's very first ever appearance ever on any Nintendo console, and this is a little game known as Yoshi for the NES. It was a puzzle game. I know you've played Yoshi at this point, right? You've done some Yoshi. This trailer is amazing. I love this claymation animation they did.
He's so awful. Look at him.
I kind of love him though.
He looks like he. This looks like we have Yoshi at home.
He's Timu Yoshi. It's Timu Yoshi on here. Oh man, no, like I think Yoshi, as done in the ad is amazing. Yoshi is done in this game. This is probably one of the better versions of any of the spin-off games that have came. Spoilers for all of us to talk about here in a moment, but Yoshi as a whole, I think, had a really unique kind of like stacking puzzle game aesthetic where you're spinning these plates and you're trying to get as many of these creatures into these eggs to get points as possible. It had a really cool like 2-player mode, and it was a simultaneous release on the NES and the Game Boy at the time. That game also sold incredibly well. Like in Japan alone, 500,000 copies on its first day on sale. Like, think about any game that releases the day to sell 500,000 copies is bonkers. Like, and this game did it. On the first day it was available for sale. In the US, Game topped Babbage's NES sales charts for 2 months in 1992 from August to September. And in the UK, the Game Boy version still sold 100,000 copies in 1997, which was years after its release, which is like nuts. But, all of that aside, like, I think this game is a perfectly serviceable game. Is it as good as like a platformer? if you don't like platformers, it's better. But if puzzle games are your jam, but I feel like as far as this game goes, it is a very arcadey one-note game. Like, there is one thing that you do, and that is all that you do in that game, and it's better played with multiple people. So I would argue for it to be a completely serviceable game. I wouldn't put it in the hate category, but I would definitely say, like, when I think about Yoshi as a game, I think about it in more of the that's an acceptable game. I had a really good time with the time that I had with it. What about yourself, Tenderly?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's about
Acceptable.
Yeah.
I feel you. Goblin Junkbot in the live chat is 1000% right. There are significantly better puzzle games on the NES and the Game Boy, Tetris and Dr. Mario being one of them, or both of them. Both of the better games. So I think that kind of lands in the sufficient category. We do get to another puzzle game here, also in that vein, which is Yoshi's Cookie, for the SNES. I could not get my throat is not wanting to be cleared. I'm starting to lose my voice already because I haven't been in practice of talking to people lately. So, but Yoshi's Cookie was a game that released for the Super Nintendo. It was in that puzzle game category and did not really kind of hit in that same note, I feel like. And Netis is pre-celebrating here in the live chat, and I hope he gets the reaction he wanted. How do you feel about Yoshi's Cookie, Tenderly?
Well, once again, with the commercial here, the things that they came up with, these dang commercials.
Godzilla, like black and white horror movie going on with like this super chipper video game released for the Game Boy and the Super Nintendo. Like, I don't know. Like, I kind of lean toward Yoshi's Cookie as just kind of being like it's all right. Like,
yeah. I mean, I've played it a couple of times, and so like, also like what we were just saying, when it comes to these kind of games, I mean, then like, dude, there's Tetris, and so I mean, would I play this over Tetris? I think I'd play Tetris,
Yeah, I kind of land with that. Like, I kind of agree with that. Like, I prefer Tetris.
And I know Netis had already said earlier in the night that that this was a top shelf game or he was leaving, but I'm just really kind of indifferent for this one.
Yeah, like I think that when I think about Yoshi's Cookie, for me and my money, I think Yoshi's Cookie is one of those games where it's like, this game is okay. I don't think it's the most Yoshi of all games. Definitely not. But I do think that this game is more complex, mechanically complex than the original Yoshi, and that's where I think this game kind of lands itself at being a significantly better game than the original Yoshi. But do I think it's the most Yoshi of all games? Not really. Like, this one's a good one, but it's not the best one.
Yeah, it's just kind of meh.
Yoshi's Cookie, Famitsu did give it a 7 out of 10, pretty much across the board on the Game Boy, the NES, and the SNES versions of it. So I have made the chat sad. Listen, so has Tenderly, and by proxy, she agreed with me. So like, it's all fine. IGN did rank this as their 50th game on their top 100 SNES games, and Games Radar ranked it the 48th best game available on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So we need a more refined palette.
But that alone says that there are at least 47 games that are better than this.
Right? Oh my gosh. We have the final 2 games, and we're going to try to go through these quickly because we have 2 minutes until ads decide to run on their own. I've been trying to postpone them for a while. But the next 2 games on this list, we'll be quick about it. We won't spend quite as much time with them. Are Yoshi's Safari and Tetris Attack, also known as Panel Upon. We'll start with Yoshi Safari. I would show the trailer here, but Yoshi Safari was a Super Scope game released for the Super Nintendo way back in the day, and it was an on-rails shooter. This game exists well before there were brand guidelines for Yoshi, and you're going around and you're shooting Goombas and birds and all these other things, riding on Yoshi's back, using the Super Scope light gun to shoot the screen. Personally, this game is really weird and not like your typical Yoshi game. If I were to rank this one, and ranking it quickly, my own personal take on it is that this one's one that I would probably put in the hate category just because it just is so strange and so different from everything else, and use the light gun, and none of those games are awesome most of the time. But what about you, Tenderly? How are you feeling about Yoshi Safari?
I did try to stream this game one time, but I don't have a light gun, so I didn't exactly make any progress at all. But I liked the idea of it. The back of Yoshi's head is very cute. So, yeah, I will defer to your placement there.
I'm going to put that one in hate below, well, maybe above Yoshi's Topsy Turvy. At least does something interesting. So, like, I'll put it above.
I mean, yeah.
And then we get to Tetris Attack, which is also known as Panel de Pawn in other parts of the world. And the only reason that it's on here is because it makes a cheeky attempt at rebranding everything into Yoshi. This is not really a Yoshi game by any means. Like, it's really not. They just rebranded all the Panel de Pawn characters into Yoshi characters, and it's on here. But what I will tell you is Tetris Attack may be one of the best Tetris games to have ever released, legitimately. Like, you're moving around all these panels, there's gravity going on. It was kind of the intro to Puyo Puyo in a lot of ways. I like this one. Tetris Attack is glorious, says Goblin Junkbot. Poorly named. Yoshi and the various enemies made it better because the fairies in Panel de Pawn were all the same looking character, and it's difficult to feel like progress was being made when the next level is just previous level with pink hair or green. And I agree with him. But Tetris Attack kind of lands as like, this is like a really good game. But maybe not a really good Yoshi game necessarily. I'm going to ask you, Tenderly, before these ads decide to run on their own, where are you landing on Tetris Attack? How do you feel about it?
I'm going to have to go play it. I was unaware of this game previously. But once again, you have me at Tetris. So Tetris is a good game.
We're going to put this in the okay category then.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, once again, is it, like a great Yoshi game? I guess, no, not really, but it's Tetris.
Absolutely. Well, we do have ads running right now. We're going to go to a quick BRB screen. We'll be right back after these short messages. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and watching this. We'll kind of review what we've done here in a moment. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us during the break there. And just as a quick review of what we have done. And by the way, look, the name tag worked. It shows Sarah
hey.
Tenderly. She is Tenderly.
I have a name.
But we are going to go and review the tier list real quick. So standing at the most Yoshi of all Yoshi games, we have Yoshi's Woolly World, followed by OK with Yoshi's Crafted World, Yoshi's Cookie, and Tetris Attack. Sufficient, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island DS, Yoshi's Story, Yoshi Touch and Go, and Yoshi on the NES. We hate Yoshi's Safari, Yoshi's Topsy Turvy, and Yoshi's New Island. And then the ignored ones are the remakes. So as far as that goes, those are the ones that you've got to look forward to. Now, I was talking with Tenderly during the ad break there just for a moment, and I said, hey, I don't know if I necessarily 100% agree with our list. And I don't know how you feel about it. So we should each get at least one veto. And so I think we go with a veto here, a veto system. This is what Chris and I typically do, is we do take one veto. However, when we did our top 100 Nintendo games of all time, top 101 Nintendo games of all time, we had 3 vetoes. So with that being said, Tenderly, I'm gonna let you do your veto first. How do you feel about the list that we've got going on here? Is there a game that you feel is inappropriately placed that deserves to be higher or lower? Where are you landing, Tendy?
I mean, I'm pretty okay with the list as it is, but if I get to change the ranking of one thing, then yeah, I would definitely go ahead and bump up Crafted World. I think that's a pretty top shelf game. Like I said, not as good as Crafted World, but you know, it's okay.
I understand. I understand, and I'm okay with that. I think again, when we look at Yoshi as a whole, Yoshi's Woolly World, Yoshi's Crafted World, viewed in that lens, like they are stellar games. If I was going to use my one veto, I think we all know how I feel about it. I've been very, very precious about it. Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2. I would not tend to defame our disagreement too much, though, and I'm just going to bump that into the OK category.
Aww.
So we're gonna pump Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island right at the top of the OK category. It's definitely got to be better than Yoshi's Cookie and Tetris Attack. Come on, it's an actual Yoshi game. So
it's true.
Oh man, but that being said, that is our list. If you would like to create it yourself, feel free to join our Discord, !Discord, in the Twitch chat. We'll take you directly to it, and I will share the link to this list so you guys can edit it and share your own versions of that list as you desire. We are going to go into the fast forward now, which is going to tell you about all the video games that you need to care about coming out this week. In just a moment, as soon as I get everything opened up here, because I was behind the ball. I should have been opening these things up a lot sooner than I was. But right after this. The first game on this list is a title known as Tethergeist. For those of you guys that maybe don't know what it is, it's kind of a Celeste-like in a lot of ways, where you play as a lady who has a ghost that is attached to her, and she can kind of do a whole lot of teleportation. If you are a fan of Celeste, you would probably be a fan of this. It has some beautiful pixel art, has some great punishing platforming gameplay. Tenderly, are you familiar with Celeste? Is that kind of, I know, punishing platformer, you hear that and it immediately is like, no, that's not a Tenderly game. But how do you feel about Celeste? Do you enjoy that game? Is that something that you would be interested in?
I've not played Celeste. You know my very good friend JLo.
Mm-hmm. We do love JLo.
We do love JLo. I watched JLo play Celeste, and so when I was watching this trailer, that was exactly what I thought about. I love the art of these games. But yeah, I look at this and I just think, I don't know but it made me think also, earlier today I stopped by another streamer friend's channel who was playing Cuphead. And I was like, I love the art style of Cuphead, but I've never played it. This game is too hard for me. And they were like, you can't ever say that until you try. They were like, for all you know, you could just secretly be like an amazing,
You
at
might
this
find
game.
it in your body and it just suddenly clicks.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I mean, that's kind of fair that, you never know. You could secretly be good at something, but I don't know if I look at these things and I feel the courage, to take and drop my money to find out whether or not I'm secretly, amazing at being Celeste or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the look of it.
It is a very pretty game. I love what they've got going on here. I think this game could turn out to be something that is special and regarded in somewhat the same way as Celeste. I definitely think so. And it might be for you. And if you're on the fence about it, it is only a $16.99 video game releasing May 7th for the Nintendo Switch 1, playable on Nintendo Switch 2 as well. Maybe give it a shot, Tindy. Maybe you'll find a love for punishing platformers.
I mean, $16 isn't bad.
No, not at all. Especially for a beautiful game with a good heartfelt storyline, which Celeste does have that, and I think they're kind of channeling a lot of that in Tethergeist as well. We go into our second and only other game on the list of games that you should care about coming out for Nintendo Switch. And this is a game called Nitro Gen Omega. They're kind of calling this an open world JRPG turn-based game. It's got a huge anime aesthetic. I love the way that this game looks. It's got a highly stylized art style. Comes out May 12th for $29.99, on sale for $26.99. If you like video games that are kind of dripping with style, it's giving me like Jet Set Radio vibes in a lot of ways. Maybe not quite like that. The description does go on to say, a world ruled by machines, humanity has lost the war, and the wastelands are now crawling with rogue AI and scavenging war machines. Sounds a lot like the real life United States right now. But you can experience the US RPG Simulator yourself, coming out on May 12th again for the Nintendo Switch 1, playable on Nintendo Switch 2 systems, coming from Destiny Bit. And then we get into the Nintendo Switch 2 games that are coming out. This one is a big one, folks, and it is Mixtape, one of these coming of age storylines. It's got longboarding, an amazing soundtrack, a great art style, and it's just kind of telling the story of these teenagers who are trying to find their place in the world. And if that is your jam, I think that you will enjoy this game. However, it's been a long time since I've been coming of age, unless I already came of age. I don't know if I've made it of age yet. Who knows? Tenderly, am I of age?
You are not.
Well, I mean, that's fair. It's a fair take. But I have been excited for this game. I think this game looks awesome. It's got some really cool things rolling in it. Only runs $19.99, coming out on May 7th. This is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, so you will not be able to play this if you don't have the Nintendo Switch 2 just yet. Coming from Annapurna Interactive as a publisher, developer, Beethoven and Dinosaur. How are you feeling about Mixtape, Tindy?
I don't know how accurate my take is, but looking over this, I thought that it reminded me of the those.
I think I know the ones you're talking about.
The series of games where they follow a
Life is
person
Strange?
through. Life is Strange. Yes, this reminds me of the Life is Strange series.
I would agree with that take.
That was the feeling I got looking over this. So I do like the Life is Strange series. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm usually kind of like leery over anything that involves teenagers. But I do like this art style, and I think if you're in that section, maybe this game might be for you.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you. It is going to be one of those ones. I don't think I will end up streaming this one, to be honest. I mean, it's got a lot of copyrighted music from Devo, Roxy Music, Lush, Smashing Pumpkins, Iggy Pop. I mean, they're kind of making that a big sell on here. I mean, the game is called Mixtape, so you gotta be expecting some cool 90s-esque storyline music going on in there. So, but please check that one out. Coming out on the 7th, 1999. And then we get into another one. I'm not 100% certain whether or not this is going to be one that's going to be for everybody. This is called Blood Refreshed Supply, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. It is getting a Nintendo Switch 1 release with a free upgrade pack available for it. But it is like an old school vampire-centric boomer shooter as far as that goes. I'm not the biggest boomer shooter player, but I do really dig the aesthetic that they're going for here, because it is very reminiscent of those old school 90s boomer shooters. They do have split screen for up to 6 players, 120 frames per second gameplay, and a great native resolution and 4K support. But Blood Refresh Supply follows Caleb, an undead gunslinger, on a quest for revenge against his former demonic master. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can snag that coming out on Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch 1 on May 7th, $29.99. And then we get into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, probably the biggest name game that is coming out this week on the Nintendo Switch 2. It is a puzzle game where you play as Harrison Ford, as voiced by Troy Baker in the Indiana Jones series, a true sequel to the original series of films. But if you're a fan of Legend of Zelda in terms of the way the puzzle elements are in this, I think you will be a fan of this game. It's presented from a first-person perspective, definitely like Tomb Raider, Uncharted-esque, but with a lot of the puzzle-solving elements that you'd see in your typical Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, and a lot of the other 3D Zeldas that are out there too. So, Tindy, is this one that's making it on your list of games to play? Have you played this one in a previous format? I know you've got Game Pass, so there's a high possibility. Is this one on your list?
I have not played this. I've heard, comments about it, mostly about the companion not being great.
I mean, that's typical in most Indiana Jones films in general, too.
That like a lot of times, like instead of like letting you work things out, that the companion just like incessantly keeps butting in and being like, hey, do this, hey, do that.
I love that. That's sarcasm, by the way. If you couldn't tell, I don't love that. One of the bigger reasons that I disliked Biomutant or God of War in some ways, Atreyu was just like constantly like, hey, do this, and I'm like, just give me a second, let me puzzle it out. Come on now.
Just shut up, kid.
Oh man, but this one launches May 12th, $69.99, full-fledged, very expensive game. So if you're on the fence about it, maybe wait and see how reviews are for this game. As it stands right now, previews are in, and it's doing extremely well. There's some performance dips here and there, so there are some sacrifices being made, but you can snag some Indiana Jones and the Great Circle coming out on the 12th. And then our final game for the fast forward is a game known as Call of the Elder Gods. Unlock ancient horrors in this Lovecraftian narrative puzzle adventure, coming out on May the 12th, $24.99. This one may be a little bit more up your alley. When we talked about this before, it's like Blueprints.
This one looks really good to me. This one looks like a lot of games that I've played. I do like the puzzle games.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me a lot of like Blueprints, The Witness.
I loved Blueprint.
Oh,
I don't know if you played that one all the way through, but dude, I loved that game.
I love when puzzle games do something different and cool, and Blueprints did something different and cool with making it a roguelike in certain ways. I was a bigger fan of The Witness, and that's what this one reminds me more so of than Blueprints, but but I am definitely very intrigued by this one. Releases May 12th, $24.99. And also, look, you get crab hands.
Crab hands!
Who doesn't want crab hands?
Crab people. Crab people.
This is not another Crab's Treasure, though, so this is a totally different experience. But if you're into the puzzle games, first-person puzzle games, check out Call of the Elder Gods. There is a demo that's available for it, too. So if you don't know if it's going to be your thing, you can try out the demo a little bit earlier. And that's all of the games that are coming out that you should care about coming out this week as far as that goes. So tenderly, a lot of cool things getting ready to launch. We are going to go into the game show segment of the show. This is Pixel Minute, aka Pixmin. In this section of the show, Tenderly has exactly 60 seconds to guess the title of a game that came out many a year ago, or very recently a year ago. But either way, it was released this week in Nintendo history. And it may or may not be a game that necessarily was released by Nintendo. It's just on Nintendo consoles. So Tenderly, you have 60 seconds to guess it. Are you ready?
No, but I will do my best.
I believe in you. Can you see the screen? It is being shared as video in the Discord call.
Yes.
All right.
I can see that.
She's like, and it's a blob.
Well, it's not like I've got my glasses on. So.
Oh, we're already hedging. I see. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right. So Tenderly, as you can see, it is slowly depixelating. And I don't know if you can tell anything.
It's big gray.
Big gray. Big gray.
Big gray. That lovely game, Big Gray.
We love Big Gray.
Oh yeah. That's the best Yoshi game of all the Yoshi games.
You've got about 30 seconds left on the board. I'm going to start giving you one-word hints. Metropolitan. Feline.
Oh, feline.
Sandbox.
What? Have I ever even heard of this game before?
Mischievous. And that is time. We do have a guess. Do you have a final guess before you say?
When did you say that this game came out?
This game came out this week in Nintendo history. That is one thing for sure.
You didn't say when. You didn't say when.
No,
you just said this weekend. Well, yeah, that is Big Kitty, Little City, I would think.
Flip it and reverse it like Missy Elliott. It is Little Kitty, Big City.
No.
Released.
No.
In 2024, we did have our first guesser here, Nettist, Little Kitty Big City, but Keywork Savior in with Big Gray 64 will also accept. Right before.
Next time, I highly recommend you pick a picture with more colors in it.
I understand. I understand. I thought for sure you were going to get this one, but you do get points on the board. You get one pity point because you did guess the game. You did guess the game at the end. One pity point. Little Kitty Big City is a 2024 adventure video game and debut release from American indie developer Double Dagger Studio. The player assumes the role of a cat lost within the city with the main objective of making its way back home. It was released on Nintendo Switch, Windows, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S on May 9th, 2024. And for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on May 9th, 2024 as well. Tenderly, what's your experience with Little Kitty Big City? How do you feel about it? Do you like it? Is it your jam?
Yeah, I like that game. I've streamed it twice, and it's got an update out where you can now change the appearance of your kitty. But they also, in the game, it has like these little Tamagotchi, gotcha, whatever.
Amiibos?
Doodad. It's like they're like little gumball machines, but you get
gotcha.
Yeah. But you get out little hats for your cat to wear, and
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I tried to, I was like, I'm pretty confident she's going to get this one. I knew you had played it, so I was like, okay, she's going to get this one. And then I ended up setting it up too much for you. And I think it threw you off. As far as reception for this game, Little Kitty Big City did get generally favorable reviews. On Metacritic for the Nintendo Switch version of it, it got 77 out of 100. Game Informer gave it an 8 out of 10, IGN with a 7 out of 10, and Nintendo Life a 7 out of 10. So, if that's your jam and you like having those like Untitled Goose Game kind of video games, that's what I would compare that game to. You should give it a shot and see what's up about it. So that wraps up Pixmin. We are going to go into the Nextra portion of the show. This is all the extra Nintendo news that you need to know. We had another week of nothing on My Nintendo. But on NSO icons, Tamagotchi Life, Living the Dream icons are getting close to the final wave. We are on the second to the last wave. They will be gone next week on the 13th, and it is the final day of the Super Mario Galaxy 1+2 icons, so you can snag those while you still can. The Play and Redeem icons finally rotated, and they have good ones for bike fans. Grab Mach Rider and Excite Bike 64 icons by playing those games on Nintendo Switch Online, Nintendo Classics, and you can snag those. The Excitebike 64 does require that you have the expansion pack version of Nintendo Switch Online to be able to play the N64 games, but Mach Rider does not. Snag those anytime before next month. Nintendo Music, we did get a single released on Nintendo Music from Super Mario Galaxy 2. This coincided with the new chapter of the Rosalina storybook that was added this last week. And sales and deals, Star Wars sale is going on the eShop. Snag great deals on lots of titles like Knights of the Old Republic, the Battlefront Classic Collection, The Force Unleashed, and more, saving up to 65% on great titles. That sale ends in 5 days. And news highlights. Dragon Quest XI S, Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition, got rated for Nintendo Switch 2, and I'm so stoked to finally see it get the proper treatment on a Nintendo system. That game was horribly screen crushed down and did not have the resolution that it did on PlayStation, but we did get really cool extra features on that version of it, and I'm hoping to see it get a much better looking re-release on the Switch 2. As mentioned earlier, Super Mario Galaxy 2 had another chapter added to the Rosalina storybook. This one doesn't tie into the origin reveal in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. However, it does neatly wrap up the storyline set up for Mari and Lou in the previous chapters that originally left me wanting more. Animal Crossing Lego is getting another expansion set with Timmy and Tommy, and they are expectedly adorable. And Nintendo and Sony's live-action Zelda movie is coming to IMAX. Just a final note here, an update to the schedule. We will not be live next Tuesday. However, Chris and I will be doing the show on Wednesday. I have a Pokemon TCG tournament that I've entered the boys in again. They are excited to go and play. And it doesn't wrap up until 10 p.m. Eastern time. And then it takes me like 30 minutes to get home. So we won't be here on Tuesday, but we will be here on Wednesday next week. So you can hang out with us then, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, Wednesday the 13th. Tenderly, where can they find you, my good lady?
Over on my channel, I stream Monday through Friday. I start at 8 a.m. Central. And I stop streaming whenever it occurs to me that I should be stopping.
Except tomorrow.
Except for tomorrow. Tomorrow is a special all-day stream where I will be starting at 8 a.m. and I will be stopping, I don't even know when. It'll be a very long day. We are doing a pirate-themed stream. We will be doing things like pirate Legos, Whiskerwood. We have pirates in Whiskerwood. And then later in the day, we will be doing some Monkey Island. And Nerd here even said maybe we go do some Mario Kart and do pirate stuff. So maybe we'll be doing some of that. So come hang out with us.
Absolutely. It'll be a good time. Go hang out with Tenderly. Thank you so much for joining me on tonight's special episode with our guest. I am Tenderly. Do me a favor. Click that follow button that was up there at the top. It's really easy to go and follow her. And then for myself, you can find me over at twitch.tv/nerdxd. hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm getting back to streaming because I'm feeling a lot better than I was physically, and we're finally through the really, really busy season of photo taking. So, or you can visit my website over at nerdxd.com for all of my stupid social media garbage. You can catch all of our past episodes in video format, youtube.com/at the Nintendo Rewind. Visit our site for links to all of our social media pages, nintendorewind.com. Consider supporting the show. Thank you for watching. Catch us live weekly Tuesdays, except for next week, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. We love your faces. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Remember, please be kind and rewind. We'll see you when you see it. Bye!